So the time has finally come where we rewrite the story of Marvel Spider-Man 2. Now for those who clicked on this video and may be thinking, how could you possibly rewrite the story for Marvel Spider-Man 2? The story was perfect. You don't know good story writing. You wouldn't know a goddamn good story if it bent you over and violated you in the butthole. Pause.
Whoa.
But whatever other bullshit you may be spewing, go watch something else because you clearly don't have an open mind and you're just wrong. However, if you want to see my problems with the story and how I personally would have fixed these issues I have with the story, then of course, feel free to stay till the end. This is going to be interesting. Now, before we start this video, there's a few things I need to make very clear. One, I do not know how to write dialogue and shit like that very well. So this is not going to be one of those where I'm like, you know, doing dialogue and shit. Two, I can't tell what a good story is and isn't. And Marvel Spider-Man 2 does not have a great story. Sorry to break that to you. But I can attempt to point out my issues with its story and again, give my personal solutions for said issues. So you feel me? Think of this more as like problem solving than rewriting. You feel me? The video is titled rewriting because that's probably what got you to click on the video. Let's be real. But yeah, I'm not really a writer, so if I fuck anything up or something doesn't really make much sense, cut me some slack. I don't write stories. If anything, bitch at me in the comments below. Third thing I need to make clear, we are going to be rewriting the story with Harry as Venom. As much as I would love to say I'm rewriting the story with Eddie, one, there's no point because I'm not that creative, and two, for some odd reason, there's way too many Uncle Terry lovers out there who would just be like, nah, Harry Venom's the best, we don't need Eddie, which definitely is not true. Let's keep it a stack. That being said, I do want to give some fair criticisms of how they could have handled the story better as far as Harry becoming Venom versus like Eddie or whatever. We're not really gonna talk about Eddie at all. But yeah, and I want to make sure none of the weirdos in the comments don't be like, oh, you're just hating because Harry is Venom and Eddie was silence. Simpleton. Okay, but seriously, yeah, let's do this. Let's rewrite Marvel Spider-Man 2 story. So here are my main problems with the story. First problem, Peter being fired from his teaching job in not even the first 5 minutes of the game. This was ridiculous. He was a teacher for not even 2 minutes. We're gonna go, you know, a little more specific in how I know or whatever. It wasn't even 2 minutes, but I swear to God, from the moment he busts into the room, no did he, cause he's late, till he walks out into the hallway with Miles because of Sandman, he was a teacher for, again, I shit you not, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Huh? The second problem I have with Marvel Spider-Man 2 story is the Harry flashbacks. Now, I know why this was in the game, and I will say I like the sequences only to see Peter when he was younger in this universe. That shit was dope, but as far as the school stuff with Harry, those flashbacks missions were just meh. The third problem I have with the story is the Black Cat mission. To be honest, it was just pretty unnecessary and filler content to show off the new technology or whatever, which I can understand to show off the new technology, but I feel like they could have did something else that would have served the story. I would not have minded at all if Black Cat wasn't in the story and we got something better that served the story rather than what we got, if that makes sense. Next problem is Kraven, but I have two problems with Kraven. One, he did not do much and didn't show up much, but when he did, he was great on screen. I'll give him that. The problem is he had his army do a lot of shit for him, which, like, I kind of get it. Like, it's a game. We need enemy types and shit. That's totally fine. But half of the stuff they did, Kraven could have and or should have went out and did himself, since he's so into the hunt. You feel me? Then the second problem with Kraven is that he killed Scorpion, Rhino, Shocker, and Vulture, but only Scorpion on screen. Others he killed off screen, which is the problem. Another issue is I personally didn't have any reason to care about Harry the same way we had any reason to care about Otto in Spider-Man PS4 or Finn in Miles game. Harry just like, bro, like he just didn't show any emotion or rage or like anything about not having the symbiote or him even dying because of him not having the symbiote until like it was just too fucking late. Uncle Terry's proper motivations are not there. To put it simply, Insomniac's Uncle Terry, I've come to realize over time, his motivations are the symbiote and Harry feel abandoned. Obviously the symbiote is self-explanatory after the fight with Miles, but as far as Harry, I guess he feels abandoned by Pete after being ghosted for like one day because Peter was trying to get help for Harry, go figure. Not only that, but as well, on the other hand, Peter kinda wasn't exactly trying to give him the symbiote suit, which is when they had the fight where Harry was kind of being a sore, quiet loser instead of speaking up with his chest. So I kind of get this, okay? But overall, it's just messy. If you want to know more in depth why Venom's motivations aren't there, watch this video, top right corner. Is it this side or this side? Whichever side. Moving on from the shameless self-promo. Anyway, next problem I have is the ending. There's 3 parts to this part though. First, the fact that they saved Symbiote City for the last 2 missions of the game when this shit was supposed to happen in definitely like right after the Kraven boss fight. Second problem I have with the ending is the ending is just a ridiculous fucking mess, okay? Because you have the symbiote taking over Harry and like Harry's just not knowing what the fuck is going on.
What's happening? Just hang on, buddy! Please, no. Leave him alone.
But then Harry comes to his senses and takes control, but like he's kind of still resisting or whatever. I don't know. This shit is just confusing. And then on top of it all, Harry dies just for him to be revived by Miles.
Defense 200.
And clear.
No response.
Recharge, let's go again. And clear.
No response.
Let's recharge and do it one more time. And clear.
With this, Norman doesn't really have the best I hate Spider-Man for killing my son case scenario, right? And third, essentially Act 3 is just too short and rushed. And like if you go and look at the mission list for like the Act 1, 2, 3 for this game, Act 1 is the longest, Act 2 is shorter a little bit, Act 3 is the shortest. That's crazy. Like this game was just so rushed. So these are essentially my main problems with the story of Marvel Spider-Man 2. With that, let's get into these solutions I have with Harry as Venom, but keep in mind 1 or 2 of these I may not have solutions for, okay? So be imaginative for me because I can't think of anything that would make sense and also be good or whatever as a replacement or like whatever the case may be for like again 1 or 2 of these problems I have. So my solution to fixing Peter being fired from his teaching job in the first 5 minutes of the game is actually pretty simple. Don't fucking fire him, bro. Literally as soon as they're done defeating Sandman and he is secured in his holding cell or whatever, Peter needs to be like, thanks or you're welcome, Miles, whatever, and dip back to school so that Principal Evans does not fire his ass on the fucking spot and he can keep his job. There's 2 fucking Spider-Man in the universe for a reason. As for the changes to the rest of the story because of Pete having the teaching job a little longer, I haven't thought that far ahead, but it would have been nice to see Pete being a teacher a little longer. Maybe the next time something like this happens, fire him, but he dead ass only was a teacher for 1 day, I think, because I think it was the first day of class, I'm pretty sure, but not even for more than 2 minutes he was a teacher. That's insane. My solution for the Harry flashbacks is pretty simple, but it's also complicated too, you feel me? It's complicated because I love the flashback sequences for playing young Peter with spider powers. I kind of didn't like going around the school with Harry. Those parts of it were kind of just boring. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Like to me, like it wasn't exactly natural. It just felt forced. But a solution for this problem is they could have had 1 or 2 more missions of Harry teaming up as Agent Venom with us, Peter, Spider-Man, and we're gonna tie this back into Kraven when we talk about him in a second. My solution for the Black Cat mission, I'm gonna be honest, this is one of them ones I don't have a specific solution for other than to remove the segment from the game because it's pretty pointless for the most part. Now let's talk about Kraven. My solution for Kraven barely showing up and Kraven only killing Scorpion on screen versus the other 3, Rhino, Shocker, Vulture off screen, is actually pretty simple. Have him kill these motherfuckers on screen. But see, here's the reason for this too, right? This could have set up so many things. Let me cook. This sets up Peter spending more time crime fighting with Harry, which could help us care a little bit more about not only Harry and Peter, their relationship in general, but as well Harry individually a little bit himself. That sets up Harry and Pete's friendship, along with maybe a decent reason to care for Harry. On top of that, it sets Peter spending more time with Harry versus Miles, which will come in handy for the symbiote arc and putting a strain on that relationship a little more between Peter and Miles. And the best part is Kraven. This gives him something to do and, you know, be in the story a little bit more. He could have just had the army track down the villains or whatever to like an approximate general area or whatever, you know, and then he continues himself to hunt down whatever villains by himself from there on out. No army unless like maybe like he's getting his ass whooped and needs to dip, but Kraven isn't usually like that, so I don't know. But to put it simply, army is only used for tracking and emergency purposes as far as the story missions go. Another solution to help me not really giving a single fuck about Harry is he should have had more emotion from the moment he lost the symbiote until he regained it. Bro, to keep it a bean, he was just a quiet bitch about it. He didn't speak up or show any anger until the last second right before he gets it back. So what I said before is part of that as far as like spending time with Harry crime fighting, but generally he needed to show more emotions of missing the symbiote. They treated the symbiote like an addiction, and I mean, like, I suppose we kind of see him having withdrawals, but he again doesn't really have any outbursts until the last second. Otherwise, he's kind of just a douchebag without it. Okay, wait, my bad. I kind of forgot about this part where he flips out on MJ, but I don't know. This just felt wrong for me. Something here did not work, and I can't pinpoint it. If you can pinpoint why this may not have worked for me, let me know. My solution for Uncle Terry's motivations are actually pretty simple. When Harry first rebonds to the symbiote, he just genuinely wants to fucking kill Spider-Man because Harry and the symbiote bonded over realizing that Peter betrayed both the symbiote and Harry by abandoning them, by obviously Pete taking the symbiote off, but as well when Harry kind of asked for the suit back, Peter essentially said, no, I need it to protect the city. But Harry doesn't exactly process this just yet because it's his best friend. He can't believe it, sort of, you know? So Venom just initially off rip tries to kill Spider-Man out of pure blind rage, and we get that boss fight instead of a literal fucking blue ball where Norman walks in and interrupts. Honestly, fuck the Oscorp escape killing guards sequence. What? Alright, well, no. It was cool, kind of, but like a Spider-Man boss fight would have been better. There should have been a Spider-Man fight right then and there for two reasons. Because one, again, that would have been fucking awesome. Fighting Spider-Man a second time, but this time as Venom? And obviously we would win, but Spider-Man barely escapes on the brink of death maybe or something, saved by Miles or some shit like that. Then we get the Kraven boss fight that stays the same with Venom or whatever. Then we get to the part where Venom or Harry visits his mom, and it's all Friday the 13th Jason Pamela Voorhees vibes where his mom is talking to him or whatever, right? Like in his head, whatever. That could go the same pretty much, but I want there to be a dialogue of Venom talking to Harry and the symbiote saying to Harry something along the lines of this: Pete almost took everything from us, so we're gonna take everything from him, take what he cares about the most. And what the symbiote initially thinks of is MJ. So he goes to kidnap MJ. He's not gonna hurt her though, because like it's Harry. Harry cares about MJ, but Pete doesn't know what Venom will do since like the symbiote or whatever is in control, and Pete kind of lived through that experience. Harry and the symbiote have bonded over the abandonment of Peter / Spider-Man, causing them to hate Peter, Spider-Man, now wanting to kill Spider-Man, but not before torturing him a little bit. This is where we could have got the MJ Scream boss fight or whatever, but not 4 fucking stages. That is absolutely ridiculous. Like, that shit needs to be shortened to 2 stages max, maybe 3, but that's pushing it, because I personally want to include some other boss fights. Then just like generally speaking or whatever, Venom puts Miles out of commission temporarily at the cost of Pete saving MJ. As Miles is out of commission, Venom creates this huge symbiote tendril shit or whatever, and it drops a building or just something to where Pete has to save people because Venom caused something or whatever, right? This is where Venom starts thinking, and you know, he says something in his head or whatever along the lines of, we gave Pete the symbiote to him And what does he do? He takes it for granted. He treated me and everyone else like shit. He wanted the symbiote all for himself and wouldn't give it back to me, all just to protect his precious city as Spider-Man. This is when Venom realizes and processes if he wants to destroy Spider-Man or Peter, he has to go after what Pete cares about the most, which he thought was MJ. But the one thing he cares about more than her is the city and protecting it. Now this would be where Symbiote City happens. This is where the hate of Spider-Man turned into obsession. Because think about it like this, right? Yeah, Harry wanted to save the world, but Peter almost destroyed his and took his for granted, aka the symbiote, all just to protect Peter's world, the city of New York. So yes, it would kind of be out of character to do something like this for Harry, but that's the thing, that's the point. The symbiote and Harry are bonded so deeply over the abandonment, the betrayal, the rejection, the hate of Spider-Man, of Peter, that the symbiote sort of kind of makes Harry want to act out of his beliefs, out of his normal self, his normal thinking and actions, etc. Don't mind the shirt, scenery change. I forgot to mention something while editing this. But instead of what I just previously said, you could also kind of have it like this as well. Venom could be like, or Harry anyway, oh, like we wanted to save the world with you, Pete, but now we don't need you, Pete. We have the symbiote, right? We have the power to do it ourselves. At the same time though, they could be like, now we can save the world all while destroying yours, Pete, type shit. Because in Venom's mind, you know, we're saving the world by giving everybody symbiotes, but for Pete, this is a fucking nightmare. What the fuck's going on, right? At this point, Harry and the symbiote are obsessed with destroying Spider-Man, or just in general making his life a living hell. So here is where he begins Symbiote City. We get the whole 9 yards, symbiote tendrils everywhere, civilians being turned into symbiotes, etc. We could still get those missions of like Miles and Pete coming up with like the sonic gadget, whatever. Like pretty much everything else could happen the same way, but you know, like we're gonna keep sprinkling in the new dialogues of like Venom / Harry saying to Pete, oh, like you took the shit for granted or whatever, you know, you wanted to destroy the one thing that kept us alive or whatever, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna keep talking about that throughout the rest of the story. Now the solution for Act 3 / the ending in general. First, Act 3 needs to be a little longer. That's why I started Symbiote City like right after the MJ Scream boss fight, so that we can have more missions with Symbiote City instead of it happening 2 fucking missions before the end of the game. Like what the fuck? But as well so that we can do the following. Next up, I think there should be a Symbiote Miles boss fight. This would have been dope, where we as Peter fight Symbiote Miles. That would have been awesome. Then while Venom is looking for the fucking rock or whatever, maybe he can't find it right away for whatever reason, to keep Spidey off of Venom's trail, Venom sets free some Spidey villains, not all, but like a couple or something, you know, just to keep Spider-Man busy from finding out Venom's real plan or whatever, you know what I mean, which is taking over the city and destroying it because it's the only thing Spider-Man cares about the most. I think Symbiote Rhino would have been pretty interesting actually, and I mean like he was in Spider-Man PS4 and Miles, so that would have been kind of cool if he didn't die from Kraven anyway. Maybe a symbiote Trapster was mentioned in the game, but he didn't cameo. That could have been an interesting opportunity. And like I'm trying to go with the different picks because like, you know, Web of Shadows, these kind of would have made sense in this story / universe because we've seen these characters before. Maybe a symbiote Mysterio, that would have been kind of interesting to see. Whatever other villains are alive after Kraven is dead, have like 2 maybe 3 max symbiote boss fights, then we can have all the other shit of like, you know, hunting Venom down and like the anti-Venom stuff. That can all play out as it does pretty much, and everything could pretty much kind of stay the same except for the very ending, like the final boss fights and everything between and after the Venom boss fights. Pretty much the last mission should completely change. 1, the Peter Venom boss fight needs to be more across the city on some Sandman shit, like the fucking promo we got. Yeah, you know, this trailer that looked pretty awesome, but it sucks because this is nothing like what happened in the game whatsoever. Yeah, that trailer, what the fuck happened? How is the opening of the game better than the closing of the game? That's just no cage fights, no arena, no fucking none of that shit. There's so much shit they could have done. Also, like I never realized or mentioned this before, but like you guys do realize that Venom is Spider-Man's parallel, right? He has Spider-Man's powers engraved into like the genomes of the symbiote or whatever, right? Dude, Venom in Spider-Man 2 or whatever for PS5, did not shoot a single web to web swing in the game that I can think of, at least. He kind of used the tendrils, but he didn't do the hand thing or whatever, right? He didn't shoot any web balls that I can remember. Nothing spider-like or Spider-Man-like, so he would be doing more of that shit in my story. But generally for the ending, I don't know, man. The ending is very messy. Like I said, not gonna lie, I don't have a very specific solution for the very ending. I will say though that Harry definitely, no doubt about it, should have died for two specific reasons. Reason one, we could have at least felt bad for him. Sympathy goes a long way for caring towards a character. On top of that, this could have paralleled to Spider-Man PS4 with Aunt May dying, even though it probably wouldn't have lived up to that expectation or whatever, or extent. I cried almost every time replaying Spider-Man PS4 and seeing Aunt May die and like hearing her flatline. I don't think Harry's death could have lived up to that, but anything would have been better than what actually happened in the game as far as Harry goes. So yeah, that fixes caring for Harry part kinda, and we feel bad for him. But not only that, now Norman has a solid case to hate Spider-Man and want to kill them. So there you go. That is for the most part how I would have kind of did the story to not only make it better in my opinion, but because we gave Kraven more reasons to show up in the story, we kind of fixed the symbiote arc and my issues with it, my problems with Venom and Harry as well, but a little more like character accurate to Venom, even though the host is completely different. We're still keeping, you know, those core traits of Venom as far as like the host and the symbiote bonding over the hatred, or in this case more bonding over the abandonment, which turns into hate, then obsession or whatever, right? Which are 3 out of the 4 essential character traits of Venom. So yeah, that is the rewrite of the story for Marvel Spider-Man 2. What do you think? Did I cook? I think I did. Maybe not all the way, but like, again, I thought I did pretty good. Or did you think it sucked? With that being said, I want to hear your opinion, so make sure to comment down below so I can interact with you in the comments. Thank you for taking time out of your day to click on this video. If you are new to the channel, I usually try my best to cover confirmations, rumors, leaks regarding Spider-Man media and whatever else I'm interested in. So if that's what you're interested in, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 6K. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and check out my last upload at the top left. Hope you ever had a good day and that you enjoyed the video. Until next time.